Hello there. Let me tell you a story of my midlife crisis. After an argument with my fairy godmother, she left with the only bottle of fairy dust and was never to be found again. Unfortunately, I needed that fairy dust, for I needed to go to a One Direction concert. So I went into my potion room and I tried to recreate this mysterious fairy dust. But remember, kids, safety comes first.
You're insecure, don't know what for. You turn heads.
And here are my beloved tools. The secret ingredients include lead nitrate and potassium iodide. The first step is to measure out approximately 0.331 grams of each compound. Next, we must dissolve the measured compounds each in separate volumetric flasks. Pour in the compound, then add some distilled water. Remember to swirl the mixture before filling it up to the 100 milliliter line. We must measure out specific amounts of distilled water with a graduated cylinder. Each beaker will have a different amount.
Don't need makeup to cover up. Being the way that you are is enough. Everyone else in the room can see it. Everyone else but you. Baby, you light up my world like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile.
The next step is to measure out the specific amounts of lead nitrate and add it to each beaker. Afterwards, measure out the specific amounts of potassium iodide and add it to each beaker. This is when the magic starts to happen. The goal is to create the perfect fairy dust, which means we must find when the fairy dust begins to form. We don't want that yellow fairy dust. The yellow fairy dust is bad fairy dust.
That's what makes you beautiful. So good, come on. You got it wrong.
This brings us to the 8th beaker. We must check to see that we have created the perfect fairy dust. The 8th beaker must be between a clear solution and a solution with the fairy dust. As you can see, the fairy dust first appears in the 3rd beaker.
I don't know why you're being shy. And turn away when I look into your eyes. Everyone else in the room can see it. Everyone else but you. Baby, you light up my world like nobody.
I have made my perfect fairy dust! This is no magic, it is only a chemistry lab, and here's how it goes.